drink, let the chaos begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. Swindon town pride, loud within. This is where the game and fun begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. Swindon town pride, loud within. This is where the game and fun begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. Swindon town pride, now within. This is where the game and fun begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. Swindon town pride, now within. This is where the game and fun begin.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday and welcome to Fools Rush In on a night where the panel in the little warm-up section before we went live, they have done their stretches. They are ready. There are opinions everywhere on what has happened this weekend, and we have got so much to cover. I just don't know how we're going to fit it all in. We have got Shrewsbury, we have got Barnet, we have got the biggest derby in world football this weekend as a patient Corsham pick up the win over Bassett. We've got Swindon Town women's weekend action. They've got midweek football as well. And with all of that, we also have an intro question and your questions. We've had a few things sent in to us since the weekend, which I will be trying to put to the team as well. We are currently live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on X, but as per the ticker along the bottom, StreamYard has announced tonight that they are having intermittent issues with X. So if you or someone you know are watching via the app formerly known as Twitter, it might be worth heading over to either our Facebook or our YouTube channels, where everything seems to be running smoothly. I think that covers all the bases. But good evening and welcome, as I say. Live chat is available through all the regular places at the moment. So please do get involved, because I'm sure if we have plenty to say, you have even more to say. I'm going to throw the intro question out straight away and then bring the panel on, because we have, like I say, so much to cover. Yes, Mike. Well, no, it's not really an earlier start. It's just starting on time is the key component. It seems a lot easier to do that at the moment on a Monday than it is a Friday. However, this Friday, you have the luxury that it's almost certainly going to start on time, because Woody is hosting. I'm definitely not here. I'm missing my first show of 2026 on Friday, as I'm taking Aidan to the theatre again, this time to celebrate his birthday, which is next week. We're going to go and see Legally Blonde in Leicester, but I will not be back in time for the show. So Woody is at the wheel on Friday, and let's face it, it's not like there's going to be much to talk about. Anyway, the huge news out of the Winter Olympics isn't the fact that Team GB are winning lots and lots of gold medals for the first time in this style of competition. No, it is the fact that in a couple of days, the 2,800 and something athletes have already burned through the available 10,000 condoms that are available to them. So to recognize this incredible feat of athleticism, what I would like to know from the panel tonight and from you is, what's something you've run out of quicker than you probably should have done? And no, giving up on belief on Swindon getting promoted this year does not count. That is what I'd like to know. Evening, Sean. Yes, it was great to see you too. It was a shame about the shambles, but it's always great to be able to see people whose names we see all the time, but like, especially for me, who's not at all the Swindon games, it's great to actually say hello to people. We've got James here, who I also met in person for the first time on Saturday. Great to meet you as well. Look forward to seeing you at Barnet tomorrow. And Mike asks, has Ben rehearsed his reenactment of the vicious headbutt of Ripley? Well, let me tell you, Mike, Ben is not here tonight, despite being at the game. And why is that? because he's celebrating Valentine's Day 2 days late. As Woody pointed out, Ben's schedule at the minute is can't do Saturdays, football's on. Can't do Tuesdays, cricket's on. Can't do such and such day because I'm gaming. I don't do anything on Mondays and Fridays. Let's do things then. Absolute shambles in the FRI ranks as well. But what isn't a shambles is the opinions of the boys that have made it tonight. Let's start with a man who I had the luxury of walking to and from the game with. He featured in my post-match rambling video as he simply said the words, Oldacre, before I turn the camera around again. Evening, Mark.
Hey, evening, Fifey. How we doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, very, very good, pal. Are you feeling any better yet?
No, far from it.
Good.
I'm still secretly seething. Well, not even secretly seething. I am seething.
Nick V is going to Barnet tomorrow. Make sure you find us, Nick. There's plenty of fools going. I think there's a good 5 or 6 of us there again. So make sure you come find us, pal. Yeah, say hello. And Sean's answered the intro question nice and early. Bog roll. Hashtag COVID. Mark, you heard the intro question there. What's something you've run out of earlier than you should have done?
Razors, always, and it infuriates me. I buy a 3-pack, and it usually lasts me about a month because clearly I've got a goatee. So shaving properly is something that only happens maybe 2 times a week. But for whatever reason, I managed to go through a pack of 3 decent branded 3-blade razors in a fortnight, and it infuriates me. I don't know whether it's just the fact that they're not what they used to be in terms of quality. But yeah, constantly running out of them and forgetting to put it on the shopping list. So they're not having any at all. Isn't that just life,
mate? Isn't that?
It is indeed. It is indeed.
Let's say hello to our other panelist who was also in attendance on Saturday, and it was possibly the most angry I've ever seen the man in all the years I've known him, and in the funniest way, which we will discuss in a short while. He lost his voice during the now infamous "fuck the EFL" chant, which was one of the funniest things to hear. Evening was.
Oh, it got me Saturday. Oh, it got me. This football club got me. It broke me for 20 minutes. I couldn't speak. Yeah. How are we, gentlemen? Have we sort of recovered? No,
mate.
No, not at all. Not at all. James, who Mark, you also got reintroduced to on Saturday. He says Razors is a great shout. Sean says another big turnout tomorrow. Hope the team turns up. Well, if they don't, I can tell you. I said off camera to these boys, if we perform like we did on Saturday again tomorrow, my head is going to fully explode. I don't think I can take it. And we'll be coming on to this, of course, as part of tonight's episode as well. Mike says, another opening question. Is there any Swindon player you felt it was fair to boo? For me, it was fair to boo Michael Rose. The only Swindon player it's been fair to boo is Sofian Zabu, and that's because it was part of his name. And I can say that, safe in the knowledge that I've said on more than 20 occasions over the years on FRI, that I fucking loved Zabu. Absolutely class player. He wasn't, but he was in my mind. Sean says, think we were all speechless Saturday, was what's something you've run out of sooner than you should have done?
Always for me is like, and you never change it, is shower gel. Because you're in the shower, then you'd use it, and then you get out the shower, and even if it's empty, you just put it back on the side. So then you get in the next time, and you're like, oh, fuck, it's gone. So then I end up having to borrow Ellen's and smelling like, you get like the Radox one and like pink, and I smell like owls. Yeah. So smell like the wife. But yeah, that's normally the only thing. Or the other one for me was biscuits in the biscuit tin. That's the worst one for me, when you just got a cup of tea and you sit down and you think, oh, no, there's none left. So,
Ben says, good to see the Fools on Saturday. Dreadful day as we had a tyre burst that was stuck on the hard shoulder for 3 hours. Oh, was.
There was no phone call. Oh, come on, lad. No, I probably would have answered. I was in the wrong mood when I did. Oh no! Listen, what a way to compound the day that is.
Yeah, It just makes it worse, doesn't it? Jay says mine would be chewing gum. The stress watching football makes me chew more. Yes, that's the reason I'm the size I am, is because the stress of watching football makes me chew more, and then swallow and digest and everything else that goes with it. It looks like we may have a 4th fool arrive just in time for the intro question. It's a young man who is very, very cock-a-hoop with how things went on Sunday, if not Saturday at least. Evening, Rich.
Evening, lads. How we doing?
Very well, thank you, mate. Yourself?
Lights off.
Oh, he's in a chipper mood,
Oh,
isn't he, old Rich? He's in a chipper mood.
No, all good.
Yeah,
how we doing, guys?
Says,
All right?
it was a 13-hour day.
Oh.
That's grim.
Rich, the intro question as you were logging in and missed it is in acknowledgement of the Winter Olympians burning through the 10,000 available condoms in 3 days. What is something you've run out of sooner than you should have?
Christ. Something I've ran out of quicker than I
Yes.
thought I would.
Yes.
Oh God.
While you think, Mike asks, are Watson and his team responsible for going around Swindon digging potholes to increase business?
I haven't need to, mate. With the rain just keeps pouring. It fills them up, and then people miss them. It's been mental, to be honest. I haven't needed to, Mike, but yeah, thank you for assuming that. I'd like to think that we built up enough business by not doing stuff like that, Mike. Thank you.
No, he just goes around Swindon shouting at runners, to be fair.
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, heckling runners. Get in your car. Wear your tyres out. Stop running.
What have the other lads said?
So Mark said razors, and Waz said shower gel
And biscuits.
and biscuits.
For
Mine
me,
would be
it's
milk.
like-
Mine would be milk, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
So
Milk's a good one.
I don't, because I don't drink tea and coffee. It's very rare I have milk in the house. So I normally only get a pint of milk if I've got someone coming round to the house, say my mum, for example. But when there is milk in the house, I always want cereal. But because no one's ever coming round, I never have the milk. It's a problem for me.
Yeah. For me, it's like because I have a lot of hot sauce on my food, so for me, it's hot sauce.
Okay.
Frank's hot sauce, Rich. Frank's hot sauce.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Legendary.
Yeah.
That's what a milkman is for, Fifey. I don't pay myself enough money to have a milkman come round. How much do you think I'm on hosting the #1 Swindon Town podcast in the world? Let's not forget, we have no adverts, so therefore we're getting no advertising money. Right, let's get into this. It was an absolute shambles. Let's just throw it out there early. It was an absolute shambles. What I would like to do, because I fully know from the panel we have on tonight what the tone of this review of Saturday is going to be. So what I would like to do is try and start with a positive. And it's not a positive about Swindon as such. But what I would like to say is, result and performance aside, that was my first ever visit to Shrewsbury. It's a perfectly nice stadium. Nothing wrong with it at all. But what I do like is they seem a proper club. For example, me and Mark, we got to sample. They have a little fan area just outside between the home and away stand, where there are bars, there is takeaway food. They had it's undercover in case it's raining, and they had a DJ playing, and the fans were just allowed to mix, and there were no problems, there was no drama. It was just nice and pleasant. The security guys were sound. They had a bit of banter about them. I had very little issue with any stewards. And I came away thinking, and I said to Mark beforehand, do you know what? I'm quite happy if Shrewsbury stay up. They seem a proper club. I have no issue with Shrewsbury at all. I don't like the fact that we lost the STFC derby, but that's another matter. So there's my positive from the game. Now the whole thing turned sour.
Fifey, just very quickly, and I'm not sure if you mentioned it, sorry, at the start, but they've just released the sit-down interview with Clem, Anthony Hall.
Of course they have.
On YouTube.
Of course they have.
Yeah, 17 minutes ago they dropped it.
No, I didn't know that. So that'll be something to watch after this.
Yeah, basically. It's an hour and 20 minutes long.
And that's edited. Jesus.
Probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I wanted to share that. Sorry.
Sean says, Middlesbrough, 91% possession, first 10 minutes, the second half. What happens? Cov go 2 up. Standard procedure.
Sounds similar to my game yesterday.
Matt says, was nice meeting Mozza while entering the ground, and then corrects it to Wazza.
Yeah, it was nice to meet Matt, definitely. He said to us, is Ben here today? And I was like, I think he was coming. And then we did see Ben. He did show up.
He did.
But, yeah, it was good. Yeah. Oh, God, getting into the turnstiles was a bit of fun, though, wasn't it? Like,
I know, but it didn't work, did it? The scanner.
Yeah, the scanners. It was just like, even the old boys, the stewards were going, I just wish we had the tickets back, like the proper, like just on paper tickets or whatever. And, it was a blooming, people just ripping the ticket stubs off. You know what I mean? It took us a while to get in as well.
Lipo asks, which players do the panel think should be dropped following Saturday? Oldacre and Palmer for him. That will be to come. That will be to come. There is a lot to cover. There were so many individual talking points that we can cover. What I would like to do is just ask you all, and Waz, I'll start with you, just an overall kind of take on the game, performance level, what the result means, etc.
Didn't deserve nothing from the game. So the result was very fair. Like, no, I don't think any Swindon fan can argue. It was a poor performance, devoid of it's hard to say effort sometimes, but it just felt like we were. That's brilliant.
No, it's not just my pet that gets in the screen.
But devoid of any sort of. It was just a hard watch, wasn't it? It was like I felt like we kept the ball okay in areas, and then the final ball or the ball to get it to that area to get the final ball in was just horrendous. Whether that was down to Shrewsbury, I think we struggled with the pitch. We all commented on the width of the pitch, and we're a team that likes to try and play football or get the ball into areas. I know we went a bit more direct on Saturday, but I feel like we couldn't play our football because you couldn't get into those little pockets of space. And someone who was detriment to that was Darren Oldacre, because he prefers to get into little pockets of space and get on the ball and try and make things happen for us. He's never going to be that type of player that, that's going to do a load tracking backwards, but you want him to be that creative force going forward. And he struggled to get into any space. There was no space for us to get on the ball. And we really, really struggled. But that's probably the only thing I can clutch at for an excuse. But we were miles off it. Shrewsbury were better than us defensively, offensively. They seemed like they had an idea, a style. We were a bit all in, trying everything and just not doing anything good. It was awful. We didn't deserve nothing. We got nothing from the game. It was awful, and we need a reaction tomorrow, which we will come on to. But as an overview of the game, Fifey, we just didn't deserve nothing. We were miles off it. And it wasn't just 2 or 3 players. I would say that the whole 11 that started and most of the subs that come on, there was no impact for me from any of them. That's how bad it was. It was across the board. Across the board, it was bad.
Jamie says, what's Town's record when Fife is spotted on TV in that purple away shirt? So
you need to change that shirt tomorrow. I agree. I do think we need a change.
Was I spotted on TV again? Because it wasn't mentioned this time. Against Notts County, it's mentioned all the time.
You see you could just, even when you know that picture that you put about
every home game
deserves better, you can see your purple shirt.
Well, you know what the thing is I don't have another one. That's my only current Swindon shirt that I own. So if someone wants to donate one that's going to fit a man of my physique, then I'll happily change. But I mean, it's there prepared for tomorrow, I'm afraid. Rich, what's your takeaway from the game as a whole? I know you weren't there in attendance on the day, but you've had a chance to watch and listen back and get loads of opinions and stuff. What's your takeaway?
Yeah, no, I watched the game. Fell asleep for a little bit during it. That's how bad it was. But yeah, no, I completely agree with Wazza. I thought Shrewsbury, they just wanted it more. They wanted it more than us. You could see they were fresh. And again, I know I mentioned it in our chat earlier that obviously we played on the Wednesday. We only had a couple of days to recover and all that kind of stuff. We made the odd changes and stuff like that. But whenever I look at the lineup now, something just does never fill me with any kind of confidence, especially when you're playing a back three of Ball, Clark, and Kirkman. Which, by the way, none of those players is centre back is their natural position. So when you're trying to play a back three, I mean, playing a back three is hard enough as it is. But then when you're playing three midfielders or two midfielders and a left back in a back three, you're in for a recipe for a disaster. Like, Kirkman is a very good player. Okay, he has his off games and all that kind of stuff like that, but he's not experienced enough. You know, this is only his second season in professional football. You know, he's not got that experience yet. And then when you've got Clark, I mean, it's okay if you've got another centre back who's able to help you and direct you like Tafazoli does, but you know, it's hard to tell really. I just don't think that back three works. I agree with Wazza. I just don't think Oldacre works hard enough. I think, yeah, he tries to find those bits of space, but unfortunately it doesn't always work. You know, when you're trying to progress up the pitch. For me, his best position is literally side by side with Kilkenny, if I'm being really honest. So it's, I don't know where Holloway's. I get Holloway was trying to rotate and stuff like that, and obviously because we've got 3 games in 6 days, so we need to rest players. Personally, for me, I would have rested Drennan on Saturday. Yes, I know he's our top goal scorer, but unfortunately, top goal scorers need to have a break as well. And he's played more games than anybody this second half of the year. So it's second half of the season, rather. So, you know, I mean, I think he's due to have a break or even start on the bench and then come off the bench and maybe make an impact. But to be playing 90 minutes game in, game out at the moment, especially with the schedule that we've got, those are the kind of players that need a break, not a player that's played one game and then has a break for the next game and then comes in again for the third game, rather. So for me, it's, yeah, I don't know. I think for me, it was all down to the team selection. And yeah, again, like Wazza said, they were up for it. They just broke us down. Whenever they got the ball in their half, they went up the other end and they tried and scored. And they could have probably had more. They could have had maybe 4 or 5. So, yeah, I think we could count ourselves lucky.
Okay. Mark?
Where to begin? I mean, firstly, a team that has Oldacre, Nichols, and Palmer in it doesn't scream pace. Okay, that's the first thing. So if you're going to try and break down a team or look to win the ball back with a counter press, it's never going to happen with those players in the side. I want to go back to what Rich was saying about that defensive back three. 100% agree. Playing with the back three is so much harder than playing with the back four. However, Batty played as the left-sided centre-back in a back three recently, and everyone was giving him the plaudits for saying he was absolutely superb. I think it might have been Newport, or maybe an Oldham, actually.
Oldham.
And he was superb. So why did he not drop back in there? And again, that was probably the most bizarre.
Getting subbed off for being our best defender.
I just found it bizarre. It was the most bizarre substitution in the entire game. I really don't understand it, to be perfectly honest. The issue is you know, again, I'll hark back to those 3 players. They don't have pace, so it was never going to. We were never going to have the protection that Kilkenny needs in terms of players with pace around him to do what he needs to do. He was having to end up doing it all on his own. I mean, you got Nichols on one side and Oldacre on the other. Neither of them were really offering him anything in terms of support, and I just didn't get it. And then you bring on Ola Kigby later on in the second half for Batty, and it's just like, well, what did he really offer that late in the game? You know, when we're trying to chase it, I mean, it would have been better to try and shore up at the back and, you know, and try and be a little bit more adventurous. But it just didn't make sense. The substitutions didn't make sense. The lineup didn't make sense. The fact that we got in at half time level against the run of play, having not played well or really created anything of any note. If I was the gaffer at that point, I'd have gone, right, lads, we've got to change this up. We've got to do something different. Okay. And would have pitched to set a different plan for the second half, but we came out and did more of the same. So I'm at a loss of words. Yeah, and Mabette's on the bench. I mean, the guy comes on for the last 18 minutes, doesn't put a foot wrong. Okay, he did all of the things that he needs to do as a centre back would do. Yeah, I mean, he didn't, have the time to set the world alight, but he went out there and was effective, and immediately the back line looked a lot. I mean, admittedly, we did concede a third goal. But that wasn't his fault, but we looked much more assured at the back. And I will get on my soapbox about Ollie Clark. He didn't lead from the back at all. He was quiet. I don't see him shouting and organising the defence like Taff does. And this is our captain. The captain's got to be the biggest gobshite on the football pitch. He's there to drag everybody up when the chips are down. Wasn't happening enough on Saturday rather. I just don't get it. And that's why I'm angry, Fife, because at the end of the day, at half time, we had the chance to do something about it and we didn't. And this is a side that's chasing promotion, that's the stated claim, and anything else is less than a failure. Well, we went out and failed on Saturday. Okay, it's simple as that. We could have changed it. We need to be beating teams. With all due respect to Shrewsbury, I know they're fighting for their life and they've had a massive upturn in form at home, but player for player, we are the better side.
Yeah.
Don't care what anybody says. You look at our bench compared to theirs. Not even comparable. It's not acceptable. This is the expectation that we've been told to expect this season. So I'm holding the club to account. You didn't perform. I'm gonna call it out.
So and the fact there, Mark, just quickly in terms of mentioning our bench, we would expect players that are rotated for whatever reason, because we've got a large amount of games in a short period of time. You would expect those players that, even though they're not playing week in, week out, to come in and show the experience and actually get us through games. And it's quite disappointing when that doesn't happen. And just a quick point on Mabite as well. I agree with Steve. I don't know what Holloway's beef is with Mabite, because even when he does start, he subs him off on the 59th minute. So, and I just don't understand what that reason is. It cannot be for fitness. Surely not, because he's had enough time now to actually get.
The thing, just to add to that as well. Sorry to cut across that. Just to add to it as well. And we said about. I was talking to Fifey and was about this before the show started tonight. What happened? We've got a youth team. Yeah, we've got an under-18 side. They got centre backs playing for them.
Yep.
So what's the point? And it'll be funny. These are kids that that are being trained up to play in those positions. They would be chomping at the bit to get involved with the game, even if it's for one game to cover an injury. It's just like what happened to that? And then having those older heads. We talk about having this experienced team of older heads to help support these young players. What's the difference? John McGregor came through, and obviously he's clearly probably an exception to the rule, and is without a shadow of a doubt one of our top 5 players this season, and I probably top 3 to be perfectly honest. There is a pathway there, and we've shown there is a pathway there. I mean, admittedly, I'm not saying that we would have thrown Sonny Hart in there, but let's be honest about it. Sonny Hart's at least a qualified centre back, somebody that can play that position. So why wouldn't he have been the right person to have thrown into the mix?
The only thing I would question is where are all these? How are we getting all these injuries? Like, I know it, and people say, "Oh, it's bad luck, it's unlucky," but like some of this is so cryptic, isn't it? It does my head in. Like, Knight LaBelle comes on and plays on Wednesday night for half an hour, and it looks pretty rosy that he's back in. I was expecting him to start on Saturday, and then suddenly he's got a back problem. Jake Ball comes back in, Ball comes back in, gets hooked at half time because he's injured. Tafazoli can't seem to stay fit, and it's all cryptic problems. Wright gets injured. I was questioning 6 weeks ago why we've got 6 or 7 centre halves, but I can fucking sort of we're moaning that we had to. Clark and Kilkenny had to. Clark and Kirkman had to play there because they had to. Like, I don't think we can really moan at them. Do you know what I mean? Clark's done it probably a little bit more. In the back three, they can get away with it when you have a central person, someone like Ball. I thought in the first half, even though we played badly, I think that the Ball sort of gave us a little bit more stability back there, even though but in the second half, when he went to a back four, I thought it was the worst decision, because then you're relying on Clark and Kirkman to be proper centre halves, and that we got proper found out. The second goal, you can see it. Kirkman has, you know what I mean, has completely lost his man for the cross, even though they worked it quite well. The third goal, obviously, we had chances upon chances to clear the ball and clear our lines, and that could be from anyone. But these injuries, it's like they're just constantly mounting up. It's like, I agreed with someone put earlier that Bassett wasn't fit, but you've put him on the bench, so we need a centre half. Play him, and then if you have to hook him, then he goes, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? Then you change it, but at least start with someone in a stronger position who can play that. And I kind of agree with Mark on the fact that about a youth player, but then I think, are they good enough? But we had a centre half sat on that bench, and if he wasn't fit enough to be on the bench, then why are we playing him? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I just don't understand, and all these injuries coming from everywhere in this one position, and I can't have the fatigueness as an excuse anymore. I said this 2 or 3 weeks ago. We have got a big enough squad to rotate and to be on it every single game. And this is where I agree strongly with Mark. Saturday's performance was a disgrace, because we've got a squad that should be able to, at least every game, we should match or outwork a team every single week. And that wasn't there Saturday. It wasn't down to lack of that we lost because Shrewsbury were quality-wise better than us. We got out-fought. We got out-battled. And that's something that should never happen because of the squad that we've got, the options that we've got. And that's where I'm disgusted the most, that we got completely out-fought and out-battled. And that's where it's wrong for me.
Again, just on that point there, Wazza, as well. I mean, I would much rather have we say unfit. I don't actually think Mabite is actually unfit. I don't know what injury he had or anything like that, but he's obviously been training and everything like that. And I'm sure if he had to play a half or maybe an hour, let's face it. When he does start, he only plays 59 minutes anyway until Holloway hooks him. So, I'm pretty sure he could probably have done that. And I would rather have somebody that is experienced in that position or experienced in that back three than have 3 players that are in that back three that haven't got a fucking clue what they're doing. So, I completely agree. I would much rather have an unfit player that is experienced in that position, because at least they can direct the other 2, than having 3 players that haven't got a fucking clue what they're doing.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is pick up on some of the things you guys are talking about while merging it into what the chat is also saying. So firstly, on the subject of our defensive shape. Yes, hindsight is a wonderful thing. I completely agree.
Oh, Fifey's
gone. You're on mute.
Is that any better?
Still cut. Yes. There we go.
Back.
The cat keeps pulling the wire out. I wish he'd fuck off, man. Today is not the day to pull the wire out. So defensive shape, my take is this. First of all, if you're playing 3 centre-backs, you have to have at least 1 centre-back player. Yeah. Ideally you have 3, but if you don't have 3 available, my personal view on it is that if I agree with the point that I think it was possibly Mark made, if not it was. Mabete's fit enough for the bench. He's fit enough to start the game. Even if you have to pull him off,
at least you've tried. Yeah,
at least you've.
Yeah.
So I think the central of the 3 centre backs has to be, and if he's the only one available, he's the only one available. I have said for a couple of weeks now, my personal opinion is that since he signed, Batty has been our best natural defensive-minded player. And I also think McGregor is one of our stronger defensive players. Now, yes, you would be risking damaging their performance by playing them out of position. But for me, if you don't want to play Mabete, although I disagree, fine. If you have a back three of McGregor, Clark, Batty, that instantly looks stronger than what we started with, personally. I just don't like two centre mids and a left back playing as the three centre backs. Now, picking up on what's been said, you raised the question about why we're getting so many injuries, and I know we're supposed to be doing the review, but as you've raised it, let's bring it up. I have had a suggestion in the Fool's mailbox this week about Beversbrook, and is it fit for purpose?
Yeah.
Is it Holloway's methodology of training? Is it that the conditions just aren't suitable for the rigors of professional football? Is it a mix of the two? There could be any reason that I'm fascinated by people's reasons as to why we're getting so many similar injuries, but most importantly, similar in the same positions as well. I find it astonishing that Tafazorli and Knight Labelle and Minturn, let's not forget Minturn, Wilson Brown,
Right,
are all injured at the same time, yet we have all of our attacking players seem to be available.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Makes no sense, does it? It just does not make sense.
I mean, you could go full conspiracy theory here. I mean, obviously, if you go back to recent seasons where we've recruited, players that have had checkered injury pasts. You look at Johnny Williams, and obviously we probably got the best out of Johnny Williams across his career, so that's another exception rather than a rule. But you look at some of these players that have had long-term injuries or knocks that have kept them out for a while. Whether that's something that it used to be something that was said that we were quite good at rehabilitating players that have had certain injuries with our sort of strength and conditioning setup. Whether it's part of our data-driven recruitment model to find certain skill sets or not. But again, budget comes into this as well. We're still not talking about having like one of the most expensive budgets in the league to achieve what we're trying to achieve. So is it still part of the old Moneyball approach of finding a player that can manage X number of minutes over the course of the season, but the quality in their stats are there from the matches they have played? Who knows? Could be any number of things. We could be incredibly unlucky. In terms of facilities, well, Beaversbrook's a pretty good facility. I don't really, I don't see what I don't see what we would get anywhere else that would be any different.
Quite nice. It's quite a nice facility. It's not the best facility, but it's quite a nice facility. For however long I've been supporting Swindon and coaching as well, I've coached a few times up at Beaversbrook. It's quite a nice facility.
Yeah, I mean, aesthetically, it's not the best.
But it's quite a nice facility, good enough for league, like football league.
Oh God, no!
Absolutely, I haven't been
absolutely
there.
not.
You know what I mean? And I can't. But I only hear what you know what I mean. You only hear the bad stuff about it, don't you? Really? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's
not good enough. But it's a nice facility for grassroots. Yeah. Jay's just put it there, literally taking the words out of my mouth. It's good for grassroots. I would not expect a professional football team to be training there week in, week out. But to be honest with you, we've been there for the last 15, 16 years, I think.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. So this is the thing. So I mean, I've not been there personally. I don't know what the facilities are like, and I can't claim to have visited X amount of different training facilities up and down the country. But here's the thing: we know Swindon is a club that hasn't been invested in properly for many, many, many moons. Is the training facilities that were suitable 15, 16, 17 years ago still being in use in 2026 actually adequate?
No. No, I don't think they are. And, I mean, like I say, but is it just getting to a point where we've got a facility and we're just using it for the cheap? Or can we just not be asked to, and can we just not be asked to invest in a brand new facility?
But then Mike's saying here that they've hardly been using it because of the weather. So maybe that's not the problem.
Yeah, but that's the same for every team. Like Shrewsbury probably have had a lot of rain. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the countries had a lot of rain. If we're going to go on about heavy pitches and all stuff like that,
and they do have Astro there. They
Sure.
do have Astro. They do have Astro at Beaversbrook as well. So potentially that. But a lot of the time, to be honest with you, if they are going to use an Astro, they probably will use Foundation Park.
Okay. Well, I'm interested in people's views, so please do keep throwing them in the chat and we'll continue to share them. But there is much to cover and we haven't even got into the individual facts of the game. Just carrying on the team lineup. While I don't subscribe to the notion that it can't work having certain types of players, I do share that when the team was announced, one of the things that was very clear and a lot of fans were discussing in the concourse before heading out to the stands is a team that comprises a spine or a semi-spine, if you like, of Nichols, slightly ahead of him, Oldacre, and slightly ahead of him, Palmer. That's not a lot of pace. And when the game plan seems to be, we're going to tire the defence out for 60 minutes so that Holman can come on and do his thing, that team is not going to tire anyone out because there's just a sheer lack of mobility. And I'm not going to suggest a lack of effort, a lack of work rate or anything. There's just naturally a lack of pace and genuine speed. So it's comfortable. It looks pedestrian, which is unfortunate, but it's comfortable for the opposition because I've seen certain things already in the chat. Please talk about Palmer. Please talk about Oldacre. Like all of these players, there will be a rant coming about just about all of these players from at least one of us over the course of the next however long we're talking about it. But for me, I looked at that, and as you mentioned, we spoke before the game even kicked off about how Shrewsbury had clearly narrowed their field. It was probably the smallest pitch area that I'd seen in a professional game. It was tiny,
width-wise.
But the thing is, I said, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I'll say I believe you also said was before kickoff, this game is now made for Oldacre because he doesn't have to run around. Yeah. It's all just there. He could just pick the ball up and do his passing game. This is there for him.
I don't think he's ran the whole time he's been at Swindon, to be honest with you.
Just seeing what else is going on in the chat. James says, not when the amount of games the players have to play has gone up massively. The body breaks down on bad facilities. Mike says Palmer and Tuff won't train on Astro. Is that the same as Ripley won't train for half a week, supposedly?
Probably because their muscles are getting older now. And
Liam says Snowdon has been shite for weeks.
That's a valid point. Yeah.
Mike says I strongly believe 3G pitches exacerbate injuries. Also probably fair.
They can be. Yeah, they can do. Yeah.
It was narrow, but somehow all the space was out wide. It was baffling, says James. Yeah, we'll be coming on to that. Matt says it is tactic now for STFC to play walking football. Why don't we run at teams anymore? Maybe a new sponsor from Age UK is around the corner. We will certainly be coming on to that in a short while. And Lepo says the feel of the place, though, not professional. #Beaversbrook. There's a lot of conversation now. That's a very interesting one that I think will carry on for in the days and weeks to come. Okay, so we get into the game. The team is what it is, and we go 1-0 down. And I think it was Barry said to me yesterday that the Holloway quote, or it might have even been you on Saturday on the walk back to the car, Mark, actually. The Holloway quote is, for every goal you concede, there's at least 3 errors that could be avoided. There were more than 3 very, very obvious errors in the goal that saw us go 1-0 down. I know, and Rich, I know you will want to highlight this one specifically. Palmer is going to get the dog's level abuse for the first goal because absolutely, even I can't defend this. there was almost no attempt to try and stop that cross getting to the player. I completely agree. However, I think Swindon as a whole missed at least 4 opportunities, including the Palmer non-header, to stop that ball going in. And I have a real issue. And this is where the lack of actual defenders playing caused us a problem, because this happened time and time again. We will talk about the first goal, but I want to throw into the mix the guy who scored, number 19, whose name escapes me for the moment. Was it Morgan? He also clattered one off the bar that it was easier to score. Let's not forget
the one-on-one with Ripley.
So Rich, let me start you with this. Again, I fully expect Palmer and in the chat to get the most sort of negativity about the first goal, but there were so many. I mean, Woz will tell you, I was raging that there was 3 or 4 opportunities for Swindon to stop that going in.
Yeah, it was just too easy. We didn't pick up our players the way that we should have done. I mean, Morgan was literally nobody was within about 5 yards either side of him. So all he needed was the knockdown and for him to literally pass it into the back of the net. In terms of, this is why strikers shouldn't be defenders, because they don't really know how to defend. I mean, for me, what the fuck was Palmer even doing? He didn't know what their player was doing because he had his back to him. He used his back to try and stop him from doing it. All he had to do was hook his leg round and keep the ball in play. And that's what they did. They just knocked it in the back of the net, you know. No, you've got to be face on, you know. Block that ball, you know, put your body on the line. And that's what you got to do. You've got to be winning that ball first. Put it out for a corner and then reset. You know, that's what you got to do.
The only argument I'll give, I think he just tried to be too clever. I'm just watching it now. I think he's firstly we should stop the cross. And Palmer's admitted, and I think Jay in the comments said it. Palmer's man enough to come out and say, and he obviously has. He's gone, lads, I'm sorry, I fucked up. Like, he's genuinely tried to just to see it out. He's maybe not thought that the guy was that close to him. And that's, I totally agree, that's so wrong. He should be, an experienced guy like him should be knowing that he should be cutting that out. And I agree with Rich that he puts it out for a corner, but he's got to get first contact on that ball when he did.
Exactly, 100%. He's got to get first contact on that. Yeah. And the thing is, though, I'm not a massive fan of players coming out and taking individual critique. I mean, we'll critique them if we see that they're doing wrong. But the thing is, though, that goal was in the first 5 minutes, wasn't it? Could be wrong.
No,
was it not that early? Was it not? It was 10. It was in the first. It was first 5 to 10 minutes. And
7. Yeah,
you've got
7, yeah.
Right, there you go. You've got another 80 minutes to go to turn it around. So I don't care what you've done, but if the overall performance is shit, then yes, we will call out individual critiques. You know, he shouldn't have to come out and say that, but, you know, make the wrong a right. And they didn't do that.
The thing is, Rich, and you'll know this as well from coaching, is like rule number 1 with defending. If you can't play out from the back, clear your lines, right? I had Oscar with me on Saturday, my eldest, and he sat there and he looked at me and he said, "You're going to say clear your lines?" I said, "Yeah, clear your lines, clear your lines." And the third time I actually shouted it, "Clear your fucking lines!" And then the goal was scored. And it's just like, come on, guys, you're professionals.
And do you know what? Football's such a simple game as well. And I can never understand why people try and be so clever with it. And what wasn't mentioned it as well, like Palmer was just trying to be way too clever. He just thought his whole body weight was going to put that player off and he wasn't going to be able to hook that ball back in. But
that's a very valid point, Rich. And there was an interview with John Terry that I saw recently, and this harks back to a conversation that Fifey started a little while ago, talking about, is the art of defending dead? And John Terry was saying about the amount of players that he sees now trying to do all of these clever things in terms of playing out, like put your boot through it. You know,
I'd love someone to just smash the ball out of play.
Just smash the ball. Just smash the ball and push the team up. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Either that or put it out for a throw and just reset.
Yeah, exactly. Find your shape.
It's not rocket science. Football's not rocket science, and I cannot understand why people try and be so clever sometimes in order to. If you're under the cosh, if you're under pressure, and you can't play the ball back, fucking just kick it up the ball pitch.
100%,
yeah, exactly.
100%,
I've actually noticed him do that.
And this
as
is
well.
why Batt got substituted, because he's too much of an actual defender.
Yeah. The one player that I don't condone it from is Connor Ripley, because the thing is, he just does that from goal kicks. Sorry, I had to mention that, but yeah.
While he is the main topic of conversation, we can carry on analysing the goal as well if you want, but it's coming up in the chat again. It was a topic of conversation in the concourse pre-match. So Mark, I'll let you start things off. I've seen a couple of people saying, what's everyone's thoughts on the fact that Mr. Palmer was at Wrexham on the Friday night before the Saturday, seeing his old teammates, a few people saying it doesn't sit well with them. Mark, what's your take on it?
I mean, to be fair, Wrexham's not that far from Shrewsbury, so in the grand scheme of things, it's no big deal. I don't think that had any impact in terms of his performance on the day. It's not as if he went out and had 50 beers or something and turned up like a Sunday League player, although arguably the performance overall was that of a Sunday team that had been on 50 pints the night before. Storm in a teacup, really. I think that's a bit of a non-event and a cheap shot at trying to get a rise out of a situation which, he's always. The thing is, Ollie Palmer's revered at Wrexham for everything that he's done, so he is a bit of a celebrity up there, and made even more so by Wrexham TV and all the ceremony that goes with that. So I don't really have any issue with it at all. He's got mates up there, and so yeah, no big problem.
I don't disagree with Mark. Like you said, if you look at the full facts of it, yeah, it's not that far away. It was the Friday night. He would have. There's no way he would have just done it out of thing. He's definitely got permission out of Holloway. They would have been at the hotel the night before, and Holloway would have gone meet us in the morning for the team meeting and everything like that. It would have just been. It's something that if we win the game, we wouldn't even be talking about it, would we? But because the performance was so bad, and we need someone to have a bit of a pop at, Palmer gets this at the moment. If we're going on, we're going to go talk about Palmer now, Pfeiffer, yeah?
Please.
Yeah. At the moment, I'm edging to the facts that we've hit this, that we're just using him as a bit of he's sort of him and Oldacre for obvious reasons for me, but I'm quite like Ollie Palmer. I do. I think you look at his goal scoring record, people are thinking that he's turning up here and he's going to be striking and scoring loads of goals. He doesn't. He's just a bit more than that. That he tries to offer. In our chat, me and Joe always talk about the way that I think he wins flicks, and people don't anticipate, and there's not running onto those flicks, and that's where it really frustrates me. Don't get me wrong, he is at fault for the first goal on Saturday. And I'm at the point at the moment, and we said this earlier about Drinnan being fatigued, but Drinnan deserves to be getting as much slating in the last 3 or 4 games than what we're giving to Palmer. And
You're not allowed to criticise King Aaron, Wasser. You get called out for shit like that.
People are moaning. I'm moaning about, like, with the sole facts of playing a whole game and contributing. I haven't seen enough from Drinnan in the last 3 or 4 games, and call it fatigued if people want to call it that. Then that's up to Holloway to notice that and go and pull him out the firing line and pull him out and put him on the bench, because I'm seeing that Ollie Palmer is actually working harder than Aaron Drinnan the last 3 or 4 games.
Completely agree, by the way.
Drinnan's getting away with it because of for the first half of the season and this stuff, and that he scored a lot of goals, which I totally understand. We probably wouldn't be where we were without Drinnan's goals. But it's the effort side of things for me that I'm really struggling with at the moment. And Drinnan seems to sort of stroll around the pitch and get away with it. But then when Palmer makes an error, oh my God, it is blown up and magnified, and everything's wrong with it. And that's my argument to it at the moment. I think that Palmer does contribute a lot in the games for us. He does bring other people into play. He's not that born goal scorer, but he will bring others into the game. He wins flicks, he wins headers. It's not his fault that if he wins the flick and then someone's decided not to make that run and not to go on, and which, I'm sorry, someone like a Drinan, I'm going to call Fletcher Holman out for that on Saturday. But I can't have it. At the moment, I think he's getting scapegoated, and I think it's massively wrong.
My 2 points just very quickly on that. In terms of Ollie Palmer, my problem that I've got is that we play a different way when he's playing. Whenever the ball is coming from Connor Ripley, the first player target is Palmer. The problem is, though, he'll flick it on, he'll head it, but it'll go straight back to their defence. In terms of Drinan, though, can we... Okay, yes, we can blame him for his actual performances, but shouldn't Holloway be taking some of the blame in terms of the fact that he is fatigued, but he just wants to play him because he's our top goal scorer and he's going to score us a goal no matter what he's doing, whether or not he plays well or he doesn't play well. This has been my argument for weeks.
This has been my argument for weeks. I've criticised Drinan and I will just about understand the point that he is the only player that is playing 90 minutes game after game after game after game. I will just about understand that. I will also point out, with respect, he's a professional footballer. That's his job, is to do that. But what
how come everybody else?
People throw at me. People have been throwing at me. Drinan's still scoring goals. If you want him to do all this other work, you're going to stop the goals. And I'm like, no, because look at August, September, October. He was doing all the work and scoring all the goals. Now he's doing none of the work and just about scoring some of the goals.
But he was also playing a different position as well before he got suspended. He was playing on the right wing, wasn't he?
Yeah, but
so
that's where
I know exactly. That's what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. If you're playing Palmer, Drinan should be having a fucking field day.
He should be having a field day. Palmer's taking all the slack from the centre halves. He's taking all the battering. And Drinan and the other side, whoever's on the other side, should be having an absolute field day. But they're not at the moment. But Palmer's still getting the flack, which I really don't understand. I really don't. That's because a great point.
Drinan, when Palmer comes off, is a different Drinan to when Palmer's playing.
I disagree because I watched it at Newport. Drinan started down the middle, Palmer didn't, and Drinan was awful. When Drinan is that main focal point, he is horrendous because he can't win.
Yeah, I don't think he's a striker.
He is the worst. He is arguably the worst forward I've seen in the air.
Yeah,
this leads into the point I'm just about to make. Okay, firstly, long ball Swindon does not work unless you've got Harry
Swindon
Smith.
Is fucking horrific.
Unless you've got Harry Smith in the side, he's the only player in our squad that is capable of playing that type of play. He's the only real target man that we've got. Simple as that. And going back to what James had mentioned earlier about Drinan doesn't win headers. Correct. Okay. He is not the type of player that is going to win you aerial 1v1s. Why? He plays between the lines. He plays between the midfield and the defence. He needs the ball into space in front of him or into his feet. That's what Drinan is great at. So expecting him, if we're going to play, lump it up to the big man or lump it up into the space in the wings, we're going to be completely ineffective. Tomorrow night, we've got to play arguably the best passing team in this division. Okay. In recent weeks, Barnet have been ripping the new one into everybody with their passing game. The only way you beat the passing game is with a pressing game. Okay. So we have to be on it. We need our best players out there that are going to be putting them under pressure to win the ball back off them. Now, miraculously, the players that we have got back available, okay, are players that I would have in a side where you're looking to press. Okay, so it will be interesting to see how that goes. But if we decide that if it goes a little bit wrong to begin with, and we start lumping it up the pitch towards whoever's up there, it's going to go shit.
So on that point, and this feeds into more, and I'm trying to link it again into what's in the chat. Sam said if Holloway drops Drinan, the fans would go fucking mental. And then there was another comment about that Holman and Palmer haven't played together. And Pete's saying Palmer and Drinan don't seem to want to even pass to each other. Here's a theory of mine, okay? If you played Palmer and Holman from the start, because and I don't want to sound harsh on Aaron because we would be in a mess without his goals this year. but the energy levels just aren't there. The pressing is completely evaporated.
It's gone.
Okay, people are slagging Oldacre off. Drinnan's work ethic is completely disappeared, and I don't want that to be a personal attack on him. It's just on the pitch he doesn't seem to be doing it. Okay, James, I'm going tomorrow. Woz is going tomorrow. I don't believe Rich and Mark are.
I am.
Oh, Rich is going as well. Excellent.
I am. I think I was the first person to get the ticket.
So, but here's my thought. You play Palmer and Holman tomorrow. Holman isn't sulking from kickoff. Drinnan appears to be sulking straight away at the minute. Let Holman run a defence ragged because he will run and run all day. He's a bit Paul Glatzel like that, if you like. Then bring Drinnan on again and watch the difference. Even bring Drinnan on for Palmer on about an hour and you see the difference. It would be unbelievable.
Just quickly. Oh, sorry, go on, Mark.
Or play Holman and Palmer as the front two and have Drinnan playing in the 10.
Or swap that around, because when we played Bromley, especially in the first half, Palmer played in the 10 and Drinnan and Holman were up top. And this is the thing as well with Palmer, and I've said it on here many, many times, he is better with his feet than he is with his head.
Yeah.
That is a fact. Why we continue to lump it forward onto his head and it doesn't go anywhere. Play the passing game. That is what we're good at. And it's really, really frustrating that I watch Swindon play week in, week out with Palmer up top, and we constantly still see that long ball coming from either the goalkeeper or the defender, and it goes straight to Palmer's head. Okay, yes, he wins the ball. Yeah, he's probably got 100% win record with his head. But there's flicker. Yeah, exactly. Where does the ball go? It goes straight back to their defence.
I may be paraphrasing because people know I've never actually watched the show, but I have seen the clip. But when it comes to Palmer, I think of that clip from Ted Lasso, when I think it's Jamie says, "Don't play it to me, play it through me," and that's total football. That's Palmer. That's what you need from him.
Yeah. Yeah. Use him as a decoy. Use him as a decoy, and then play with Drennan and Holman.
Okay. Let's carry on then, because Swindon did go in at the break level in what was an absolutely crazy 5 or 10 minutes where just about everything that could possibly happen happened. Let me try and put this in some sort of chronological order for you, Mark and Woz, to get the feelings bubbling back up. So there was some pissing about in Swindon's penalty area that led to an off the ball altercation where Ripley ended up on the floor. Ripley made sure the referee knew about it. The opposing player got called over, and there was a suggestion that the head got put in the direction of Ripley, to which his GCSE drama came out, because fuck me, did he make a meal of it, in a desperate attempt to get the opposing player sent off. It was fucking embarrassing. But what it did do in the moment is the fact that the referee refused to do absolutely nothing about it. It did get the Swindon fans up. And we were, and we'd gone by this point because we were 1-0 down to a relegation threatened club. We were playing shit. By the way, side note, we were chanting Fletcher Holman's name on about 20 minutes, right? Now, if that's not demoralising for the players on the pitch that you're already calling for a sub to be made, forget anything else that happens that we're going to talk about. I understand the fans love Fletcher. I get it. I understand why. But that's not the time and place to be doing that. But let's carry on. So Ripley's done his amateur dramatics. The player hasn't even been booked. The referees refused to do anything about it. And the fuck the EFL chants come out. And my God, was it fun to be part of. And by the way, for the rest of that half, the referee looked like he shit himself. He gave Swindon every possible decision he could give for the remainder of that half. And then up steps Super Billy Kirkman in a goalmouth scramble with a goal of the season contender that only took 7 deflections before finding its way nestled in the top bins to draw Swindon level. I mean, Mark, I don't know about you, because for the first half, you were sat at a slightly different angle to the rest of us. I was screaming for a penalty. Next thing I knew, all the players were walking back to the halfway line because we'd been given a goal. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, it was a bit bizarre, but it was kind of like, to be fair, I did a bit of a double take. I looked around at the scoreboard that was directly behind us to see if the score had changed. I wasn't 100% sure it was a goal because none of them were really celebrating coming back up to the halfway line. I thought, is he giving offside or what? But yeah, it was that whole kind of, well, that was a get out of jail free
Siege
card
mentality moment.
Yeah, it was, which we failed to siege, and the second half was actually worse than the first. But yeah, I thought at that moment, actually, we can turn this around. We've played crap against a team that have, outfought us in the first half. There's the wake up call. Come on, boys, let's get out there in the second half and really go for it. Failed to materialize. I'm at a loss. I'm not accepting fatigue as an answer. We've got a massively bloated squad compared to previous years. So, that's on Holloway for the random selection to begin with, and the shit use of substitutions in the second half.
I was going to say though, is it now that we start to criticise Holloway now for obviously his decision making in terms of players, and
in that game, Rich, 100%. In that specific game, he's done a lot of good, but I'm going to call it out when it all goes tits up.
Surely we've got
some
some
substitutions. Sorry, Rich. We praised his substitutions against Newport for changing the game. His substitutions equally changed the game against Shrewsbury, but for the complete wrong fucking reasons.
Yeah, but what was I going to say there? No, sorry, it's gone. I'll try and remember it. But carry on.
Sorry, Mark. Let me ask you. In fact, no. Who do I want to go? Because I know you've both got thoughts on both. Mark, I'll start with you. Let's talk about the headbutt incident, shall we?
Seriously, it was a case of I saw it and I was just like, "What are you?" And you could tell by the referee's reaction straight away. It was a nothing doing. It was a case of grow the fuck up, lads. The pair of you. I had no idea what any of that needle was about, and it was inflicted by us on them. I'm looking for a reaction because I don't think the Shrewsbury players actually did anything wrong at any stage in the game during that. I've got no idea why they were specifically targeting. That player. It was embarrassing. Yeah, 100%. It was embarrassing. It's just like there's nothing in it. Shut up and get on with it.
The flip side of the coin, it did give us a rally though. It got the fans up, didn't it? And I think it fired. I don't know if it fired some of the players up because they fucking didn't fire.
Oh, it fired Ripley up.
But
he was pissed.
He was. Yeah. The thing is, you've seen it as much as we said. There was not really any contact, was there? And Ripley was very dramatic with it. But the guy's head did go in. And let's put it this way: he did move his head towards the. You know what I mean? I don't know if they were both just playing, I'm the bigger man and stuff like this, and they were both doing it. But you knew Conor Ripley was going to do that. It was the character that he is. It's the way he is. He's on the wind up and he's trying to. But it did give us it got the crowd up, didn't it? Because we were always the shit ref chant, the fuck the EFL. It was all coming out, and then coincidentally we go up the other end and we score before half time. And I did think
when the goal was given, the emotions were pouring out of our stand. Like a good 100 fans rushed towards the Shrewsbury fans. It was like the older days. It was like a generation past.
Yeah, and I felt like we dodged a bullet. We'd got out of the first half thinking not playing very well. That we were. I agree with Mark. I thought second half, right, we're going to come out and we'll go on to the second half. But I thought the second half, I thought we actually started it. The first 10 minutes, we looked quite on top. I really did. I thought we were getting the ball. We were getting the ball down. It seemed like we got Holman on the pitch, and then Ola Kigby wasn't far after, and it looked like we were trying to do things. And it looked Kilkenny and Nichols. I was saying to Fifey, I said Kilkenny and Nichols are starting to get on the ball now, and we're winning these second balls, and it looked really promising. And then we got done. We got done by the classic goal that when you can't defend, you lose. Your press at the top end of the pitch was gone. I don't want to keep blaming Oldacre, but I believe he was a big part of it, that he lost the ball in that phase at the top end of the pitch, and we got completely countered on. And to be fair to Shrewsbury, it was very good. The ball inside of McGregor was good, and the ball across the goal. You know what I mean? We were raving about a Hoylett ball last week that was very similar to that. So, you know what I mean? You've got to give praise where it was due. but defensively we were nowhere near the men, and he had an easy tap in. But it was such a shame because for the first 10 minutes, I thought, right, this is a much better Swindon Town that we've seen in this start of this second half. And the goal has just completely rocked us again. And it was poor defensively. It was poor from us. And it just summed up the game, didn't it? And it was just, it just wasn't good enough defensively, not good enough. Sloppiness in losing the ball in the third of the pitch where we should be we need to look after the ball and do what we can to try and create a chance and get it into that final third. We were just awful with it, and that comes from the likes of Oldacre and that not looking after the ball properly, and that's what done us, because they're a team like that, Shrewsbury. As soon as they had the opportunity to flood forward, they were gone, and that's what happened every single time, and that's what it was, and they done well from it. But it was just us giving it away again in shit areas. And it was just, that's what has cost us massively. And the third goal was similar to that. We've cost it, and that's the way it was. But
this is the thing, I think, because going into the second half, I think Swindon got into some decent positions. But I can't remember whether it was you, or Arch on the day that said, we haven't nearly threatened enough. Like, we got into good positions, but we didn't get anywhere near enough shots on goal. We didn't test them enough. And as soon as that second one went in, Swindon just lost, like their heads had gone. And you knew that there was going to be another goal, and it was definitely going to be Shrewsbury. You could just tell.
You could just read the pattern of play, couldn't you? It was going to be that Holloway made these changes, and we ended up having nearly no defenders on the pitch. You know what I mean? So you could tell what was going to happen. We were going to flood forward. We were going to lose the ball in an area, and then they were going to counter on us. And that's exactly what happened for the third goal. And it was a bit of a melee that we had a chance to clear it, and we flipping didn't. And it was just awful. It was just, we just ended up having too many. There was just a real panic, and the players were just caught in headlights. They didn't know what they were doing, whether we were going long, whether we were passing it. As soon as Ola Kigby comes on the pitch, we suddenly think that we've got every time the ball's got to go to him. So then he's got to try and beat a man, which he didn't do enough for me. We played him on the left when he was cutting back onto his right. There was just so much wrong. And I remember seeing a moment when Marcus run down from the stands, and he run down to Holloway, and he said, look, you're seeing what Ola Kigby's doing. He's on the left, he's right-footed, and he's cutting back in onto his right, when really we want him going at his fullback. So move him onto the right, and eventually they did that. But the game was, we were just chasing it then too much that we couldn't even have a structure. It was just a panicked phase, and we got completely done, and we deserved it.
Fletcher had come on. He tried. He was a willing trier. I will give him that. It wasn't set up for him to succeed, unfortunately. That nothing that's been good about some of his performances of late was available to him. I agree on what you say about Ola Kigby. I've liked a lot of James's comments over not just tonight but the last couple of weeks. I'm going to take some objection to this. I think McGregor is definitely one of our better players at this moment in time. I think he's definitely one of our better defensive players, and I think we would be in a lot more trouble without him, particularly with the complete disappearance of anything that resembles footballing credentials of Snowden at the moment. He's completely disappeared. But I feel maybe it's just how he is. It looks that way, but I don't necessarily think he panics or feels rushed all the time. Maybe you guys do, but for me, I don't feel that way about McGregor.
Yeah, I think it's. I was just going to say, I think it's one of them ones. Obviously, again, he's still young as well. I mean, can't keep using that as an excuse, but he's played this like his third season now with us or whatever. But again, like he's probably the smallest player probably on the whole pitch, and when all these bigger players, especially in League Two, are coming at him, I'm sure he does panic from time to time. But
no, I'm not having that. I'm not having that, Rich.
Because I think back to Tranmere at home, where he was up against what's their jacked left winger. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I know I remember the game. He had him in his pocket, didn't he?
Yeah, the Tranmere guy who's about a foot taller than McGregor and clearly 10 stone heavier, but like Adama Traore build. And McGregor had him all day. He was not fussed at all.
he ain't scared of anyone. That's the I don't think he is. He gives 100%. It doesn't always come off, but everyone loves a trier.
I'm not doubting that he doesn't give 100%. Absolutely not doubting that whatsoever.
I mean, he bombs up and down. He bombs up and down that side of the pitch, like
Yeah,
whichever side of the pitch.
He works hard. He's scored probably more headers than Ollie Palmer has this season.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Where he says, wish we had Glatzel and Butterworth available. Yeah, our squad would have a different feel to it. Holloway said in his recent press conference, please don't blame the players, blame me. I would like to go on record because we know that people at the club, although they don't like to admit so, they do have people tune in to hear what we have to say. I did at 3-1 down. I was the one who completely lost his head at 3-1 and just shouted over, excuse me, Mr. Holloway, did you not fancy promotion this year? Look at this lot. We fucking did. We travelled for you. What is this shit? And that is, and I know some of you would have seen my post-match little video that I did. I stand by it. I believe the number was 1,600 in that region somewhere. 1,600-ish Swindon fans were in attendance on Saturday. And every single one of them deserved better than what was served up because the Swindon fans turned up. There was singing for the majority. Yes, there was some complaining, understandable given the performance we're watching, but the fans turned up. But we do have to talk about the thing that seems to have stolen the headlines. And again, this annoys me because it detracts away from every time Swindon are really bad. It detracts. Something happens that is able to detract away from Holloway having to explain why we were really bad. In this case, it was a substitution of Darren Oldacre, who took the shortest route off the pitch, as he's advised to by EFL guidelines, and walked round the pitch in front of the Swindon fans. While I understand fans' frustrations, unfortunately, when his number was put up on the board, there were cheers from the Swindon fans. And as he walked round through the first section, there were boos. Now, what I am pleased is a vast, much higher percentage of Swindon fans didn't react well to a section of Swindon fans booing him as he walked past. And despite having what I would describe as a poor performance, the vast majority applauded him and cheered as he walked past to make up for the section that were booing. Now, I agree with the sentiment that Holloway makes. You pay your money, you have every right to have your say. But I am not one personally, and you guys might disagree. Me personally, I'm not one for actively booing players as they're walking off the pitch when they've represented your team. At the end of the day, yes, Oldacre himself had a poor game, but he wasn't the only one having a poor game. And the players at the end of the game got clapped off. It might not have been the most raucous applause you've ever heard, but they got clapped off. I can't comment whether there was any personal stuff shouted at him. I didn't hear it. And that's not me doing an Arsene Wenger impression. I can just say from where I was behind the goal, I didn't hear it. I also don't believe that Oldacre gave any back to the fans. He may well have done, but I didn't see that even myself. I did take objection to the steward who tried to stop the one woman who was trying to console Oldacre and say, look, it's okay. It wasn't that bad. But yeah, whoever wants to jump in first, I'm not personally a fan of Swindon fans booing Swindon players when they're subbed off.
Yeah, no, don't boo. I was happy. I wasn't going to clap him. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't pleased with his performance, but I'm not a booer. And I think this is another way. You hit it when you just started talking about this. I think it's a Holloway's way. I don't think there was an awful lot of boos. You know what I mean? You've got to remember we're in the middle of the game. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of, and you're always going to get a little section of that. But I don't think, like you said, Fifey, the majority were pretty respectful that if they didn't want to clap him, we were just letting him walk past us and stuff like that. We could all see that Oldacre, for me, he should have been hooked at half time for me. He should have come off for Holman. That's what should have happened. Because he didn't play well, but it was an off game, whatever, that's fine. But don't boo. I just don't see the benefit of it. You just cause a friction and you give your manager an opportunity. For me, and this is what I don't like, is that Holloway's then said this and it's given us a bit of an excuse for why we've done it. We got beat by Shrewsbury Town on Saturday not because of quality. We got out-fought, out-battled, outrun, and that's one thing that you do not expect to happen, because you can't, not with the squad that we've got. And we keep going on about this fatigue, and yeah, I get it, but we've got a big enough squad that should be there, that every week that we have a team that should be able to match the likes of Shrewsbury, who wouldn't have had a big a squad as what we have. And I know we played Wednesday night, but they've still played Tuesday night. And I'm sorry, I can't have it. They were more energy, they were better, and that's one thing that I can't allow, to be outworked and out-battled by another team. I know it can happen, but I'm not happy with that. And that's the problem. You get beat by quality, you stick your hands up and go, much better than us, loads better. But when you get out-fought and outrun and out-battled like we did, and a lot of our players lost their own individual battles, the likes of Oldacre did, and a lot of more of them did as well, not just Oldacre, it was not good enough across the board. So Holloway saying, I understand his tactic of wanting to defect from the players and want it to be that let me take the flak, which most managers do that. But sometimes the players have got to accept that that was awfully not good enough from them. They didn't run, they didn't put the effort in, and it was no way good enough.
On the subject of Oldacre specifically, here's my personal perspective on this. And again, feel free to disagree with me or agree, depending on what you think. The frustration is, there's a player in there. This is the frustration for me. We know what his limitations are, but we know there's a player in there. Okay, so I'm not expecting long bursting runs past defenders. But what I am expecting is calm composure on the ball, an ability to pass, and, the odd pot shot from distance because you've got it in the locker. Unfortunately, what we got, and this might be Shrewsbury tactically being astute and knowing what to do, is a lot of Oldacre getting the ball and kind of looking one way, looking the other, holding on to it for a good 20, 30 seconds because he doesn't know what to do with it. And I think for me, that's a lot of the frustration with him, because that there's a technically gifted player in there, and it's all good and well. Like, if I was to turn around and say he's had a shit game, look, he is clearly a better footballer than I ever was or ever will be. And I would never dispute that. But equally, I don't need Holloway saying that he's been in charge of 1,000 games. I've watched thousands of games of football as well. I know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at a footballer, and when a player isn't playing to the best of their abilities. And again, he's not the only one guilty of that, but he is the one that's currently being scapegoated for it, with the exception of maybe Palmer. I personally don't think he warrants a place. And this is the thing that I'm going to pull up from Holloway's press conference. He said, don't boo the players. It's not like I'm not seeing the same things you are. Leave it to me to not pick them in the next game. The problem is, Ollie, you are picking these players time and time again. How many times? I mean, I saw the comment earlier about disjointed midfields. Yet Nichols and Kilkenny continue to play together. We know it's not quite working for whatever reason at the moment. There was a good 10, 15-minute period on Saturday, like Woz says, where they seemed to start getting their act together, and then it all fell apart again. So that something has to give at some point, and unfortunately, it continues to be one of my criticisms. And I understand why he does it, like Woz says, but Holloway will use anything to deflect away from the fact that, again, I can only speak from my personal view. We did not play well. We have not played well, and we continue to not play well. I would argue, I'm struggling to think of an actually good. Let's not say 90 minutes because we're a League Two club. I'm struggling to think of a game where we've played well for 60 minutes plus since Bolton. It genuinely, for me. And Woody trying to... He started a decent conversation in the Fools chat earlier where he said, because I know I could be quite emotive, particularly when we lose. And he said, when was the last time, in my opinion, we lost and played well? And it took me a while to go back through the results. And I said the Salford away in the league game, where the only reason we lost that was because of two moments of absolute madness. One from Ripley getting lobbed, which I know me and Rich disagreed with on the time. And that was the Will Wright disaster class at the corner flag. But other than 2 minutes of madness, we actually played well that game. So for me, the last time we lost and played well was back in September. That's a long time.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people forget about that as well. Like in terms of the actual performance, they just remember the moments because I certainly do that from time to time. It's like I just remember the key moments of that game that enably made us lose the game, and unfortunately they did. So two mistakes like that, unfortunately we lost the game. But yeah, I think in terms of the way that we played those games, yeah, I completely agree. But yeah, when we've lost games, it's generally down to the fact that we just haven't turned up, and we just haven't got going. Either that, or the decisions that Holloway has made in terms of team setup just have not gone well. It just have not done well, and his analysis just hasn't been great. One thing I was going to mention earlier as well, in terms of player rotation and stuff like that, we've got sports scientists. What I can't understand is like why aren't they, helping Holloway out? I'm sure that's what they're there for.
Well, if anything, you could argue they're hindering, because he keeps referencing them, saying that he's managing minutes based on the sports science, but managing the minutes is what's causing us the problem. Look at Bassett, for example. We needed him on Saturday to have an actual defender, and clearly what they've done is he's only capable of playing maybe 20 minutes, so Holloway's like, well, he can just sit on the bench then.
But apparently Drennan can play, 10 games on the trot?
He could be flogged within an inch of his life, yeah.
So I just can't... that kind of stuff I'd quite like to understand, is how that is being, drilled into Holloway, and what he's being advised on and stuff like that. So that's quite interesting to sort of understand. But yeah, I can't sort of figure out what's going on at the moment.
Well, look, we've nearly done a whole show's worth of time just on this game. So, and there's still so much to talk about. So, is there anything from Saturday that I haven't covered yet, boys, that any of you want to bring up at this point?
I don't think so. I think we've all kind of talked it in. Yeah, I think so. It's left a bitter taste, and but the good news is there's tomorrow night, Fifey.
Well, this is it, and
Mark, that's class.
linking it in together, as we said, we had that 5 minutes at the end of the first half where this whole siege mentality thing really came in, and unfortunately it fizzled out again at half time. What I'm hoping is there is a reaction, because tomorrow, I'm going to call it now, is must win, absolute must win tomorrow. It cannot possibly be as bad as it was on Saturday. Some people will argue we're maybe being hyperbolic with how we're describing it, but I genuinely believe it was bad on Saturday. Just I'm struggling for a better word than just bad. It was rotten. It can't possibly be that bad. But the good news is, it looks like it's all coming back together. Junior Hoylett looks to be available for tomorrow. Ballon d'Or Will Wright looks to be available. There's a suggestion Taff might be available. Knight LaBelle seems back in the fold again. We're going to have some defenders, boys. It's a fucking miracle. Rich, what are you expecting from tomorrow?
If we're smart, if we've done our homework on Barnet and they like to play with the ball, let them have it. Let them play their game. And us set up in the way that we can take the ball and counter attack. Because they do 700 passes a game. But come on, press high and nick the ball back.
Steve says one for Rich. It can't be worse than Saturday. Mick McCarthy.
It can. But yeah, and also when we get our chances, because we will get our chances, we've got to fucking take them.
Okay, so here's the interesting one. And Mark, I know you've done a bit of a bit of background research. You've been utilising the modern day AI tools as much as anything. Barnet are a team, as we know, that like to have the ball. So we're going to have a hard-working off-the-ball team, arguably getting back to Swindon's pressing game of yestermonth, if you like. But a number of what AI would perceive as our best pressing players are arguably not available. So how do we counteract this? Because we've said before, we're not a team of ball winners as such. We have interceptors, but not ball winners. So how do we go about doing this? I can see James said, start Ola, Kigby and Holman. Start the two of them either side of Drinan. Let them play as a free, maybe.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, the big thing is if you're playing against a team that is of a high passing quality, or a team that's going to look to pass and move the ball around as their principal mode of operation, you have to press. Okay. Now, press doesn't necessarily mean that common misconception of going in and tackling and winning the ball. It's closing. A press is to close the space between you and your opponent, to force them into making mistakes. If we can do that, we have the ability, as Richard said, to hit them on the counter and to hit them hard and fast, because we've been successful at doing that in our key wins this season. Now, it could shape up to be a very good game of football tomorrow. I'm not going to go out here and say who's going to play the better football, but it could shape up to be a very good game of football if we're on it. It could be a League Two classic, absolutely. I mean, Barnet have, with all due respect to our game on Saturday, we had over 60% of the ball. And did nothing with it. So it's going to be interesting. If it ends, it's probably going to be fine. It's going to be fine margins. And I know Holloway talks about moments in games, and all football managers do. But when you consider the if Hoylett's available and Drinan's on it, and we know what Holman can do if he's given a bit of time and space, it could come down to one or two key chances in the game. And if we get ourselves ahead in that match, which is ideally what we want to happen, because it forces the opposition out, particularly when they're at home. It will create the space in behind, which we have been exceptional at exploiting to further our game. The Oldham game is a really good example of that. And Newport is another prime example where, to be fair, the game wasn't the best footballing classic, but two key moments. We took advantage of two key moments. One, probably in my opinion, Fletcher Holman's goal was up there for goal of the season for me, for sheer technique. That chop, the cutback, and the finish on his left foot, stunning. Absolutely stunning for a young lad. He's only played half a dozen games at professional level. And then the fortuitous own goal, but again from an exceptional cross into the box, which was begging to be put into the back of the net. Unfortunately, it was by one of theirs. So the game could be won by a moment of pure quality, because we have that ability to be able to do it. All of it was crap on Saturday, and I'm sure they've gone back and watched that video, and Holloway's ripped them a new one. I guarantee that he will have done about what we did poorly. Regardless of what he's fronted up to the media and said to protect his players. I guarantee, a football manager who's had over 1,000 games in football management, I think, apparently. It's never mentioned. If he'll be using all of that experience to get them focused ahead of tomorrow. And it's not coincidental that all of our better ball playing defenders, or those that are capable of playing a pressing game, are back. Shape-wise, it'll be the interesting one for me. I'm not quite sure what it'll do. I think it'll go 3-4-1-2. That's my gut feel for it, to protect the back. But we'll see.
The one thing I've been crying out for, and this is where Clark or Ball could be good, is if they're actually played in their proper position, they are more ball winners. It has been pointed out, and it's not been lost on me. The sort of player we're screaming out for will be in the opposition ranks, because Mike says, watch Offerball single-handedly stop all of our attacks and Shamanga get a hat-trick, to which James followed up with, is Shamanga going to turn into Pele because he's playing against us? You know full well they're getting a penalty, don't you, Was?
Yeah. I quite like that. Shamanga's a funny one, and he's sort of hit the ground running for Barnet. He's coming, I think he scored 4 in 6 games, and off the ball plays every week. So it's going to be tough coming to cut up against those two, isn't it? But concentrating on ourselves, I totally agree. If we've got some centre halves fit, for me, Nichols has to come out and Clark has to go into the centre of midfield. Like Mark said, it's a pressing game, and as much as we joke, Ollie Clark's probably our best presser of all, getting close to opposition players in our whole squad. So for me, he's got to go into the centre of midfield. I can't see Ball. If Ball's gone off injured on Saturday, I just can't see him being fit. I'd like to see if he's saying that Knight, Nabal and that are ready, Knight, Nabal, Wright have got to come in. I don't mind Kirkman of the left side of the three if it needs to stay that way. I don't know. I've got a feeling he
possibly swap Batty and Kirkman round.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But I just think he likes that Batty's come in as that wing back, isn't he? So I think he sees him as that. But I don't know. It surprise us tomorrow. I think Barnett play a back four, so whether he'll match up and just think that we'll go and maybe go 4-3-3, and then Ola Kigby can go wide. And then maybe I would go Ola Kigby one side, Holman the other side, and it will be one of Palmer or Drinnan. I don't think he'll drop Drinnan, but I would go Palmer down the middle, and then I would have Clark and Kilkenny as your two in the centre midfield. And I think you've got to play Junior Hoylett in the 10. If you've rested him Saturday for precautionary reasons, you're obviously thinking in your head that Junior Hoylett is going to have a massive say on this sort of game. So for me, Junior Hoylett has to come back in and start tomorrow night. He has to. If you've gone that he's not going to get in away at Shrewsbury because it's a different style or it's a precautionary game and we're doing it to look after him, he's got to come back in tomorrow. He has to. He has to start. I'd stick him in that 10 role, and I'd say to him, Junior, we're going to get you the ball and create things like he did for the first couple of games where he played, because we're crying out for that at the moment. Someone like Oldacre isn't doing it enough, and you've still got that bit of protection behind. I wouldn't mind going McGregor at right back, Wright and Knight Nabal as your two centre halves, and then a Kirkman or a Batty at left back, and then you've got that structure. I don't mind that back four. And I would go Clark and Kilkenny, and then the three, Ola Kigby, Holman, and Hoylett behind a Palmer or Drinnan.
Yeah, that sounds. I'd be happy with that. That sounds like a good lineup.
Yeah, and I just think you need it. You need that pressing, but we need that bits of quality. Like Mark said, Barnett can have all the ball if they want, but if Junior Hoylett gives us 2 or 3 moments of magic and we score 2 of them, then we're all well and good and we're in this game. So. That's not, I think you've got to get back to playing, like Rich said earlier, getting people back into their natural positions. If we've got the centre half fit or back in the squad, they've got to start. And even if you need to rotate them and stuff like that, or even I'm forgetting about Scanlon's look pretty good. If he's an option to go into that 10 position or out wide. But I just think that's the way it's got to be tomorrow. Not that you look at yourself before the opposition, but I would match them up. I don't think there's no reason to play 3 at the back if they play a 4.
Interesting you say this, and just before I carry on, the reason I've left Michelle's comment there is because I wholeheartedly agree with this. Off the ball is a massive miss for Swindon. I cannot believe he wasn't asked to stay. I really, really liked it. Stephen also says, don't they have Giants, Seamy and Critchlow? Yes, they're both in the Barnet ranks as well.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Just my thoughts on Offermore, and this one thing I can't understand really, to be fair, is the fact that they're having so much possession, so much success in terms of their passing game. Fucking hell, when he played for us, his passing was bloody awful. I tell you one thing, obviously he was very much an Anthony Grant, wasn't he? Off the ball, literally off the ball, he was absolutely amazing. But when he was on the ball, I just found him absolutely hopeless. But yeah. So I'm still racking my brain around the fact that he's actually getting a lot of success in terms of his passing game.
Beyond that comment about off the ball, though, sorry, Rich, but someone, Jay, I think just put it, wasn't it something to do with commitment? I think it was bang on. He was holding out for a League One move. We offered him a contract. He said no. He said, no, I'm not holding out. And then he didn't get the League One move that he wanted. And I heard on good authority that he come back and said, oh, actually, I might take this deal. And Holloway went, nah, sorry, mate. You had your opportunity. Yeah. I gave you a deadline. And I've got no problem with that. If he turned up with an arrogance, he was going to get his League One move.
Well, I do believe that's how it planned out. I also believe Swindon were late in offering a contract because it was kind of, you're not going to be part of this. And then he came back for pre-season training because nothing else had been sorted. I kind of believe that's kind of where the story went. What I did want to pull up on was your earlier comment was, and this is where I think Swindon have been struggling a lot of late. At the start of the season, we were very much enjoying Ollie ball, where Swindon were going out, playing our football, we were winning games, and it was looking a bit more, I think I described it at the time as a more controlled version of last season, because we weren't going out playing 6 up front and just trying to outscore people. There seemed to be a method behind the madness. I I just have this feeling that Holloway's been kind of, whether that's to do with availability of players or not, or fatigue of players, or any other excuse that wants to be used. I kind of feel Holloway of late has been trying to nullify the opposition threat too much. And I'm almost like, do you know what? We're at the crunch point of the season. I don't care how Shrewsbury are going to play. I don't care how Barnet are going to play, because I back this Swindon team at their best to do anybody in this division. So let's play the Swindon way and let them worry about us as opposed to us worrying about them, home or away.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I just think as the season drags on and the points get more important and stuff like that, and Holloway always uses this as a the games come thick and fast. We have played Saturday, Tuesday. Sometimes you do think, you know what I mean? As much as I'd love us just to take it to them, I do sometimes think that you do have to give a bit of a respect to a team, and especially away from home, you need to work out where their threats come from and you know what I mean? All your little pieces that you do with that. Let's not joke. It's not going to be an easy game. We've got no given right.
No, it's going to be a difficult watch.
I've said this since the start of the season, and people, we have a bit of an arrogance towards the top end of the table that you should just beat these teams. Don't work like that in League Two. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
And let's not forget as well, going right back to last season, Barnet have an unbelievable home record. I think they went all out. I believe I'm right in saying they went unbeaten all last season in their promotion year, and it took them till maybe November, December to lose at home in League Two.
Yeah. Well, I've just had a look. Their last 10 fixtures, they've won 6, they've drawn 3, and they've lost 1. So they're a team in form. Do you know what I mean? So they're going to be a tough nut to crack at their place. They're going to be confident, and we need to see a much better, more willing performance than what we've seen on Saturday. You know what I mean? There's going to be, as much as Holloway goes on again, there's going to be another 1,000 there on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean? It's massive.
It's an incredible. Who was it? Again, it might have been you off camera, Mark, but was us right? I think. Is it? I don't want to say they do, but Swindon maybe take it for granted. Just, you know, that's in 4 days. That's 2 away trips, and they'll be in excess, I would say, of 2,500 fans across the 2 games, travelling to Shrewsbury and then to Barnet, which none of them are particularly easy to get to for Swindon fans. Okay, they're not the worst trips in the world, but they're not particularly easy. And yeah, in the space of 4 days, you've been backed by over 2,500 fans in 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to take into account as well, it's not cheap and easy for people to be able to afford to do this in this day and age as well. So I can't think of many other teams at our level that are as well supported away from home.
Yeah. Either,
to be perfectly honest. I mean, you look at the big hitters that are up there. I mean, Bromley, with all due respect to them, aren't taking 1,000 away from home anywhere. Yeah,
Notts
Cambridge,
County, maybe
Notts County. To be fair to them, they've got.
I don't
they
think
do have
MK
decent
Dons
backing.
do. I don't think they're massive travellers.
No chance. No.
Few hundred at most. But yeah, you look at the other teams in the league. I mean, it's not as if there's a Bradford equivalent in the league this year where they take a massive following everywhere they go. Maybe Bristol Rovers for the local games. They'll certainly bring up a fair few to us when they come. I think they might even sell out, to be perfectly honest, from the reports I've seen. So that should be a decent gate. But yeah, you know, with all due respect, this time of year when it's cold as well and people are still, you know, trying to get their finances back in order after Christmas more than anything else. Yeah, two like you say, two
I
away
had to
games in
think
short
twice with
succession.
Aidan's birthday as to whether this was a good idea. But as soon as I heard that Woz was going, Rich was going, Arch was going, I think Woody's going.
Woody's going, yeah.
That there was a suggestion that Barry may have decided that he was going. You know, there's a fair few fools in attendance. It was one not to be missed. That's a shot. And Mark, I know you were even saying off camera, I ummed and ahed, and there was a time where you were almost going as well.
Yeah, no, it would have been nice, but no, Shrewsbury was the one for me. That's the ground that I hadn't ticked off, and I'm pleased that I did. But yeah, well, I've been to Underhill before, but yeah, it would be nice. Would be nice to go. And I think Oscar had said about going at some stage as well to the Barnet game, but yeah, it had to be one or the other this time round.
Well, let's see how we're all feeling. Rich, I'm going to start with you. What's your prediction for tomorrow night, please?
Simple. We've got to react. But Tuesday night away from home against Barnet. I'm going to have to say I think it's going to be 1-1.
Okay. Mark?
Yeah, I'm favouring a draw, but I'll go slightly higher with a 2 each.
Okay. Was?
Yeah, as horrible as it is, I think it's going to be a tough old game. I really do. I probably feared this one more than the Shrewsbury one when you looked. But although you say that Shrewsbury have had a bounce, but yeah, I was with Mark. I think it could be a goal score, a high. You know what I mean? I think it could be a 2 each or something like that. I'm just hoping in our thing. And I looked back tonight. They didn't score against Cheltenham at home on Saturday. I just feel like we might have those moments. So I feel like if there's a team to nick it, it will probably be us. But I'm edging towards that. I think it will be a draw, which I agree with you, Fifey. I don't think it's enough at the moment. For me, if after the result on Saturday, I think we need to bounce back with a win. And I'm just so hoping that we get it rolling into 2 home games coming up. So yeah, I'm edging towards a draw, but I just, in my heart, I'm hoping we could just find a way just to nick it any way that we can and nick the 3 points and get out of there. So, yeah, I think it'll be more.
So here's my issue now. All day when I've been talking about it, like at work or whatever, I've been saying, my heart will always say Swindon win.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm fearing the worst. And you guys will know in the WhatsApp chat I put earlier, I've got a horrible, horrible feeling for tomorrow that we're going to lose 2-0. However, I cannot have an FRI episode where not one panelist has said we're going to win. So for that reason, I'm going to say that Swindon win 3-1 tomorrow.
I would have kept it. To be fair though, Fifey, I would have kept it as that because then at least we're in for a surprise, and then we're all wrong.
We've had Sean say 1-1, Pete said 2-1, James said 1-0. Batty with the goal was his prediction. Rich has joined us on Facebook, says we're definitely getting a reaction tomorrow. As fans, we deserve one. We absolutely do. We've got fight for that 3-1 to get the goals back from Shrewsbury. And then, 3-1, wow, all from Oldham is back. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, that is Swindon men covered. Let's head over to the women's side of the game. And there is only one place to start. It was the biggest derby in world football on Sunday. It got moved to alternative venue because the pitch wasn't playable, ended up on the 4G. But Corsham did travel to Bassett and did pick up a massive 3 points, which has blown the league wide open in a game which the official match report described as a smash and grab. Rich was on the touchline in his luminous green boots so that everybody could see him no matter where they were stood. And he celebrated like mad as his current team beat his former team. Rich, you will have a view from the touchline. I obviously was part of a decent crowd considering the weather.
Very good
which
crowd.
Also had Barry and Woody in attendance as well. Start us off with how are the emotions 24 hours removed from the game?
Obviously, we're ecstatic with the way that we came through that game. I think the odds were literally piled against us. We came with a squad of 12 because our squad was battered with illnesses, injuries, players at work and stuff like that. So it was quite a frustrating week. I don't know, Dan, who's obviously in the middle of it all, he was having almost a nervous breakdown and everything like that. So of what side to put out, we didn't have much of an option in the end. But for us, it's amazing that we've got that win, and it was a huge 3 points. But now we've just got to take each game as it comes. Now we're in such a good position, and we've still got another game against Bassett as well, and that will be a game that we will. it's literally a month yesterday. It'll be so, and
Oh, on Mother's Day.
yes, Mother's Day, yes. Yeah. I was spoken to a few people about that, and I think a few people aren't particularly happy. But yes, it is Mother's Day.
That's okay. Valentine's weekend and Mother's Day. That's horrific.
Yeah. I know. Yes. So yeah,
Get that one moved, please.
Well, do you know what? We did try getting that moved, but the league wasn't having any of it, which is a bit of a shame. But to be fair, a lot of our fixtures are going into May now anyway, end of May. And I know Bassett have a game the day after my party, so
Nice.
so that's interesting. But yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
of course.
What I should say,
Yeah.
what I should say, but from a Corsham perspective, if we look at it from your side first, standing on the side, it was a perfect example of a team being patient. I think it's fair to say, I don't think you disagree, that Bassett had the majority of the ball, had the majority of the territory, but you were patient and you got your just rewards for that. You broke when the time was right, and you got your 2 goals. What I would say, for anyone who hasn't seen Corsham play before, I was very, very impressed with the defensive structure. You seemed particularly keen. Like, I don't want to phrase it in a certain way that's disrespectful, but maybe with all the things that were going against you, like you mentioned there, your side were very much set up like it was like Gandalf, you shall not pass. Like you defended very, very well. I was very impressed with how well you defended.
I won't go too much into the game plan because, quite frankly, Fifey, what you just said there was literally it. But I think the thing was for us was, like I say, because we didn't want the game to go ahead, if being brutally honest, because we were missing so much firepower. But I said to Dan during the week last week, we have got a bunch of talented players in this squad.
You have.
We really do. And we have a bunch of talented players that can overcome the odds and win us that game. And they absolutely proved that. And I'll be really honest with you, I think it was 20 odd minutes into the half when Nancy went down injured. And
I was going to say,
your whole plan
got thrown. Your whole plan got thrown with an early injury.
I think all our hearts sank a little bit because Anna, who was on the bench, who ended up actually scoring the 2 goals, was actually she says that she's okay, but she is actually having something going on at the moment. I'm not entirely sure what it is. She wasn't really supposed to play. From doctor's orders, she was told not to play. So we didn't really want to risk her. But we had no choice at this point, and we brought Anna on way much earlier than we really wanted to. But again, like you say, we were incredibly patient. Individually, our players, we know what they can do. As a team, that was probably the best team performance I've seen since being at Corsham. Apart from Lewis, where we obviously lost 4-0, but we were against a team 3 tiers above us.
Yeah.
And, like I said, the game plan went exactly how we wanted it. And I remember we had 10 minutes left. Obviously, it was still 0-0. And in my head, I didn't say this to either Leighton or Dan on the touchline, but I was thinking in my head, if we can just get through these next 10 minutes, we'll take the point and we'll run. I mean, the point would have probably done Bassett better than us in terms of where we are in terms of game-wise, and the fact that they hadn't lost a game yet and we had. But obviously, they had their tails up. They had so many chances, and they didn't take them. And they changed formation, which sort of helped us a little bit, because although we were up against it pretty much the whole game, we still had legs up front, and as soon as we broke, we knew we had the pacing game, and we took our chances, and we took them emphatically as well. And I was just talking to Anna actually before came on tonight, and she said, and I said to her, I was like, the composure that you had for both goals was just absolutely incredible. And bear in mind as well, she has openly said herself, I am not a striker. You could have fucking fooled me. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And like you say, Fifey, Dan said to me before the game, he was like, try and hold your emotions and play today. And I was like, yeah, I know, mate. I will. Fucking hell. As soon as that goal went in, 10 minutes to go, I could not hold back. So I was absolutely I was absolutely ecstatic the way that we did it. I thought, well, you know what, we could hold on just for a little bit longer. Our main aim now was to not concede, because there was still 10 minutes left on the clock. And then we go, and 3 minutes later, and we put another one past them. And then that was game over then. Even though the referee decided to add on 10 minutes of added time, which, by the way, I have no idea where the hell he got that from. But I think it was
more because the second half seemed to start later. We weren't sure what was happening on the side.
No, I asked the ref. I said, how long, because I was timing it, and I asked him, I was like, how long you adding on, ref? And he says, minimum 8 minutes. I was like, 8 minutes? Where the fucking hell have you got that from? I could not understand where he got that from.
You mentioned you've got some talented players, and that was evident yesterday. Stephen says, and I agree with, the player out wide up front, sort of our side of the pitch in the second half. I can't remember what number she was. I want to say 20. Might have even been 10.
Yeah, Alice. Yeah.
Very, very, very good player.
She's a very quick player, very good player, very talented, can play in multiple positions. And I would say, and I know I sort of contradict myself where we were talking about earlier, about players playing not in their natural positions and stuff like that. And unfortunately, we have had to do it. I mean, we're not a professional club, so we have had to do that this season. Put players where they're not naturally play. I mean, Charlie, who usually plays in midfield for us, she was playing at centre back yesterday. Gabby, who, well, she has been playing at left back majority of the games, but she's naturally a left winger. Nancy, who played in the 10 in the first half, when she came on, she went out right wing, her natural position centre mid, but she can play in multiple positions. And I guess that's, and Anna, she's played like when she came on the pod earlier in the season, she said she's played every position under the sun. So it just proves that, you know, we have got such a talented bunch of players, and, you know, if we give them strict instructions and a game plan, then it will come off. It will come off for us. As you might know, we have had some tricky fixtures the past month or this year. So for us to actually come to Bassett with a limited squad and actually go out there and actually go by the game plan, that game plan could not have gone as perfect as it was. You know, me and Dan had worked on our analysis the whole week last week. He'd been picking my brain about everything, because I know all the player profiles at Bassett. So it was just amazing to see everything come off. But Bassett had countless chances, and we had about maybe 4 or 5, and 2 of them were the 2 goals. So
if I was to offer a bit of a balance on the review, looking at Bassett from my perspective, a lot of what I enjoyed when I watched them a few weeks against Highworth was still there. There was some neat passages of play, some neat movement. You could sense a frustration that the goal didn't come, and then once Corsham got there first, you could see that there was kind of a mix of, I'm trying to think of a better way of saying it, but almost defensively, there was almost a bit of head loss, while also a bit of desperation to level it up. Like, you could tell Bassett did not want to lose.
Yeah.
And then that's what then opened it up for an almost carbon copy second goal to be scored. But all in all, I felt that, and again, I'm no expert on this. I can only speak as a casual viewer watching from the side. I thought there were elements to Bassett's play I liked, and you could see that again they have some very good technical players in their ranks, of course. But whether it was a bit too, like, certain players were maybe trying too hard, if that makes sense. And it just wasn't quite happening for them. But yeah, I don't think that I think they'll be upset from how the results come about. And I don't think they've necessarily played to their maximum level. But I think Bassett could be quite pleased with a lot of what they did on the day, just not quite everything.
And like I say, I knew what they were about, and I knew obviously if we let them play the game, you know, we might be able to get a chance or two. You know, they were giving us a lot of respect anyway in terms of the season that we've had so far. Obviously, we've had a tricky couple of games ourselves, but who hasn't this season? You know, I mean, they've dropped points as well. They just hadn't had that loss yet. So that was probably also another really good. I tell you what, the most thing I was pleased about the most yesterday was the fact that we kept a clean sheet. The fact that we kept a clean sheet against up against our backs up against the wall the whole game, and we managed to keep a clean sheet was just absolutely incredible. But just the work rate of every single player that was out there. But in terms of Bassett, though, I could tell they could see that goal coming for them because of the chance that they had, and they thought, well, if they changed to a bit more of an attacking formation, they might be able to squeeze a goal. But actually, it sort of opened the floodgates a little bit for us, and we managed to get to, like you say, carbon copy goals. But I felt we deserved it because of the way that we fought that whole game, and like you say, we were so patient. And yeah, we could not be prouder of the girls. They absolutely did it, and what a win that was for us! What a win that was for us! Absolutely incredible.
And it genuinely was a very good game to watch as a spectator. Like it was, despite the weather and the horrific conditions, it was an enjoyable watch. But congratulations again to yourselves.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. And just on that point, in terms of the pitch as well, it wasn't that the pitch wasn't playable, but the forecast did not look great at all. And we were worried that it was going to be a bit like Bath last year, where we played 60 minutes and the pitch just was not playable afterwards, and it had taken a batter in the day before because the men's team had played on it. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily because of it being waterlogged. It was more the precautionary aspect that we didn't want the game to get abandoned halfway through. But yeah,
that's fair.
But yeah. But for us, to be fair to us, I think the 3G probably helped us a little bit more. So,
moving away from that game, Swindon played earlier in the day. They had a much earlier kickoff, which wasn't very well advertised that was the case. It seemed to catch quite a few people off guard, but they had a successful cup win yesterday as well.
Yeah, they played Bemerton Heath, who play their football in I can't remember exactly the region that they're in, but I think they're in our tier now, because they got promoted last season, I believe. Did they?
That's right. Yeah.
They might be tier 7. Sorry, I think they might still be tier 7. Sorry, but yeah. we expected a Swindon win there, to be quite honest with you. 9-0. They had a good squad out. I don't believe it was on 3G either, so conditions might have been a little bit more trickier. But yeah, they're through to the final now, and they will play Royal Wootton Bassett. So that should be a very interesting game. But what I do like about Swindon is, though, in this season, and I've had multiple people ask me, is it the right thing to do? Should they be playing their first team squad in these kind of games? And if there's no rules in place for them not to do so, and they want to get players running out and stuff like that, then let them do it, I guess. But obviously, it doesn't seem fair on teams like us who are 2, maybe 3 tiers below them. But at the end of the day, it's a cup competition, and Swindon want to win it more than anybody else. So if you're allowed to play your first team squad and you want to win the trophy, they're going to do so. So fair enough. And what I do like is that they are being consistent, and they are doing that against every team that they play. So fair play, and good luck to both teams in the final.
Absolutely. And as was mentioned earlier in the chat, we had a note to do it as well. Swindon Town women are actually in action on Wednesday night at the county ground in a nice prelude, I think is the right words, for what's to come a week later. It's Swindon Town women versus Bristol Rovers women at the county ground on Wednesday, a week before the men's sides go head to head. So if you are able to, if you fancy even more of a football fix, then it's Barnet tomorrow for Swindon Town men, and then the county ground sees Swindon Town women versus Bristol Rovers women. Yes, I think Stephen is correct, because I think we had this.
No, he's not correct. No, he's not correct. No, that's changed this season.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so contracted players can still play in the county cup competition.
If you are travelling to Barnet tomorrow, travel safe. Let's be loud, be proud, and let's hope that the ghosts of Shrewsbury away do not come back to repeat themselves at Barnet. If you do see the large contingent of fools at the Hive, please do come and say hi. We are a nice bunch, despite how angry we appear on camera. And if you are able to go to the county ground to cheer on Swindon Town women on Wednesday, please do as well, because it's always a fantastic afternoon or evening out. And the women appreciate your support. So please do head out there. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to spend the last 2 hours or so in your company. I will see 2 of you tomorrow. Mark, we will see you again very soon. If not in a stadium, then on a show. And all that's left for me to say is I'm not here Friday, remember. Woody is in charge. I will be back on Monday. Have a great week, everyone. I'll see some of you tomorrow. Until next time, from everyone at FRI HQ, good night.
Fools rushing! Yeah, we're back again, like mates down the pub. Heart on sleeve, never tame. Yeah, from the chanting in the stands to the tackles flying in. Home and away, red blood, white shirt, where the fools rush in. Passion, debates, laugh, rants, late nights, Woody, Ben, Nick, Rich, Walter, Kieran, side by side, Craig and Ned, Joe and Mark, Art, Jar, Gary in the dark, and all we got, Barry in. Yeah, the gang's all in. Fools rushing like we're chasing one more win. We'll make you laugh, make you cry, feel happy, feel angry inside. Fools rushing like a last minute swing, just like back in Swindon Town. We go up, we fall down. we're chasing one more